and everything.
Gotta get a big stretch.
Big stretch.
Big stretch for big boy.
That's what you say every time a dog stretches. Oh, big stretch.
Good boy. It's a big
Oh,
stretch.
big stretch. Boom, boom, boom.
I want a dog so freaking bad.
What kind of dog?
Lab.
Like straight lab or like a mix?
Like a straight chocolate lab.
Okay.
She said no to a husky. I went,
All right, shed.
they shed a lot.
Huskies are Huskies. Huskies are shedders. Yeah, Cam is. I can't wait to get a dog. I can't wait. We can't have pets at our place, which I'm like, thank you, because then it's like so much extra money on top of it. Which like, I'm down to have a dog. It just has to be the right dog.
Right.
So, because I'm allergic to dogs for the most part.
Yeah.
So I just die. So I'm like, I think if I lived with one that shed and like I was allergic to, I think eventually I'd grow accustomed to that dog.
Right.
The one
That specific dog, not just the breed, but that specific dog.
Yeah, I'd get used to it eventually.
Yeah.
It'd just be rough for the first little bit.
See, the other problem is she keeps seeing cows.
Oh.
Can we get a cow? Oh, can we get a goat? Can we get some chickens?
You ain't got room for those.
Where do you want me to put them?
You got like a 20-foot patio out there.
She's like, oh, we can put a horse back there.
Yeah, and do what with it?
Do
It
what?
stands there?
It stands there all day long. What do you want me to do with it? Dog would make more sense in the backyard than that.
Yeah, that dog would
Dog
have
wouldn't like
little
it.
space. Yeah.
I
But
don't know. I'm like, at this point, we can't have a dog until we have a backyard, like an actual our backyard.
Or even just a little bit more space.
Right. And she doesn't want an inside dog either. I'm like, dog's a dog. Dog's going to be inside cuddling with me. That's why I want a dog. I don't care how big the dog is. Dog's cuddling with me. That's how I take my naps.
Yeah.
Exactly. Man stuff, man.
Man stuff. When Dad says he doesn't want a dog, Dad and a dog later. Who's a good boy?
Who's a good boy? Dad's when they pet
big stretch.
Dad's when they pet dogs.
Oh, that's a big stretch. Not my dad. My dad hates dogs.
My dad loves our dog.
So, but yeah,
Has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about.
there's nothing. We can tie it in.
Wolves.
Certain ancient civilizations used to worship certain animals that now we keep as pets, like
And they
dogs.
used to eat 'em.
Yep, and they used to do other things that we don't do with dogs now. Like, dogs were actually useful.
Right.
All dogs. I
all
mean, some
dogs.
dogs now are, but
Even
For the
the
most part.
little fluffy things used to have a meaning and purpose in life. Now they're just
no, I doubt they did. But yeah,
they were to hunt small game like rabbits and that type of
I don't
stuff.
think a Shih Tzu was going after a rabbit.
Or like little like squirrels and
I
stuff.
can see
like
a Chihuahua being like an alarm clock.
that. That's probably what
Or
reincarnated as a
Like a Chihuahua was just like an alarm. Oh, here comes someone. There's an annoying.
yappy meal.
Exactly. Anyway, so ancient civilizations, lost ancient civilizations. I think we know some of the big ones. You know, there's Egypt. Although we don't know a lot about Egypt. We know about kind of the New Kingdom and don't know too much about the Old Kingdom. They're still digging up like tombs. Even now, we're still learning more and more about.
Yeah. Or even like the pyramids now that they thought they'd explored the whole thing. They still finding more passageways and stuff that they
yeah.
got to explore.
Not just that, we don't even know what they're actually for.
Yeah.
They're not tombs.
Yeah.
Nope.
Who
They're
knows?
Ancient power supplied
For the aliens, man.
things. Yeah, man. The aliens. An ancient, a lost civilization that we know nothing about. But we're going to talk about some that we do know a little bit about. So I got a list here.
Or act like we know about.
Yeah, we're going to act like we know about. Some of these sound familiar.
Right.
I don't know too much, but they sound familiar. Like the Shang Dynasty.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar. Do I know anything about them besides that they are considered the earliest Chinese dynasty with written records? No, I don't know much other than they were known for bronze, casting, and oracle bone inscriptions. That's all I know about them.
And they started dodgeball and made fireworks.
Exactly. Dodgeball?
Yeah, so in war, and like, they would take the severed heads and stuff and start throwing it at each other. That's the earliest version of dodgeball.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. They're also big into jade, using jade artifacts and building with jade. So
I smoked a lot of opium too.
Yeah, that's true. So then there's other ancient civilizations that we know a little more about, like the ancient Greek people. We know a little bit. I used to know a lot more.
Greeks nowadays, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know. Mamma Mia, that's all I know about Greece.
And that's about all they're good for anymore.
Yeah.
Used to be good for democracy. Not no more.
Yeah, well, did you know that the first French fry wasn't cooked in France?
Well, yeah.
It was cooked in Greece.
We're so stupid. It's funny.
But yeah, I mean, the ancient Greeks, I mean, they got a lot of cool stories.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 300. You know, Leonidas, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
King Leonidas and his 300 Spartan soldiers that were pretty cool. They did some cool stuff. And then you got...
Then they got taken over by the Romans, so, you know.
Was it the Romans or somebody else? Eventually, the Romans. But it was
the Romans were
Persians.
right.
It was the Persians.
Persians?
Was 300, I believe.
I always get the timeline of that stuff mixed up.
I think it was the Persians, or it was...
I don't know. Last time I took, like, a world history like that was, like, 4 years ago.
Long time ago. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah. No, Persians. Yeah, they're on my list, too.
Yeah, they're there.
A lot of these, fought famous battles against the Greeks, including Thermopylae, which was the Battle of 300.
Right.
So, yeah, we knew it.
You got it. You got it.
But, yeah, one common thing, though, that I've noticed through ancient civilizations is they all worshipped or had religion in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back, pretty much everyone that was a part of those civilizations, for the most part that we know of, believed in the common religion that was about, right? So like ancient Greeks, ancient Romans, the Egyptians, they were polymatic, not polyamorous. That's something different.
No, that's something different.
Poly something, but they believed in multiple gods.
Right.
And some of them actually had some crossover. I think Apollo was Greek and Egyptian.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Roman and Egyptian.
No,
one of the or maybe it was all of them.
Yeah, it's...
So there's, gods like that, and there's some crossover, but then they also had some separation as well.
Right.
And, they would worship them for different reasons, and certain areas would worship one god, whereas others would worship another, but ultimately they all worshipped pretty much all the gods for the most part.
Right.
And then you get more and more into, like, modern day, where it's not everyone has a similar...
Right, there's not a lot of overlap.
Like, even in the same country. Because obviously the Greeks and the Romans and the Egyptians, when they were existing at the same time, they all had different beliefs about different gods. But if you were Egyptian, you pretty much believed in these gods for the most part. Obviously, there was some conversion to like the Greeks and Romans, stuff like that. But now it's like, even in the same city, you've got 1,000 different religions on who is based on what. And then there's some people that don't believe in a higher power at all.
Right.
Which I think, honestly, pulling religion out of it, logically, it doesn't make sense. The way the universe was set up, how perfect it is, it's a little... There has to be someone else, kind of pulling the strings. But
right. There's not this big bang that could have created all of this.
Right.
Something had to construct it or even create your big bang. Like,
right.
You couldn't have just all this matter and all of a sudden it happened.
Or there was nothing into something and then vice versa. And I saw this one thing, though, to skew away, go to a little religious. It was like the Big Bang, whereas, like, as far as that's how the universe existed, if that's, like, the leading theory, how else would you imagine when God spoke the words, "Let there be light," how else would it happen? It would make sense that a massive explosion like that would come into power.
Right.
So maybe, there's stipulation on how the universe was created. Like, was it a creator? Well, how did the creator do it? In the Bible, it lays out how he did it, but we don't know exactly. It was, hey, go make this.
And do
hey, I made this. Okay, cool. How, though? So it's like, if God spoke, let there be light, obviously something crazy could happen like that. I'm sure that's how it happened.
Yeah.
But we won't know that for another time. And that's a whole other podcast idea.
We'll
dive into that.
One in
yeah, we'll put that on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
Anyways, back into
our topic.
Lost civilizations, yeah. So I found 5 that I kind of wanted to touch on. that I've got no idea who they really are. They don't make too much sense to me. I haven't heard much about them. So the first ones, let's see if I can pronounce this right, is the Minoans. It sounds familiar, but only by name.
Yeah. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, like Last of the Mohicans. I was like, oh, is it that? But I was like, oh, wait, no, it's a separate thing. But
yeah, so a little intro into a little background is the Minoans were an advanced Bronze Age civilization on Crete. Crete?
Crete.
C-R-E-T-E.
Crete.
Which is a Greek island, I believe. Right? Isn't it?
Sounds Greek.
I think it's off the coast of Greece.
Sounds Greek.
Or maybe
we'll go with that.
Maybe Roman. Maybe it was Italian.
Somebody look up a map.
Yeah, please. Thank you. So they were known for their impressive palaces, vibrant frescoes, and maritime trade network that connected them with the Mediterranean civilizations. So yeah, they were known for buildings, I guess. Is what I found. That's kind of their lasting thing was architecture.
Well, like if you look at some of these old civilizations and how their architecture worked, like you look at a cobblestone road compared to
the roads now,
an asphalt road.
Right.
It's a 10 times superior road for maintenance and stuff.
Granted, right. It's going to stay long. It's going to stay there.
It lasts longer. Whereas asphalt, it's smoother and it's a little easier to.
Right, but you got to repair it every couple years.
Every couple months.
That's true. So, yeah. So, if I just read down a little bit on my notes, we'd find out that it was Greek.
Oh. So,
they thrived on the island of Crete or whatever from 2600 to 1100 BCE. Or BC, so a long time ago. And it was named after King Minos, a legendary figure from Greek mythology.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, palaces and architecture was their big thing. And the Greeks were pretty well known for their massive
you look at
architecture.
You look at, the big columns on, modern day, in the U.S., you have...
the thing in Tennessee, Nashville, the Parthenon.
Yeah, that. And then you have, even the Lincoln Memorial, how the...
Right, based off of
the Greeks.
Most of our Capitol buildings, if not all of them, are Greek-inspired.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to because Greece is one of the founding places of democracy, so...
Right. So, the Palace of Knossos... Cnossos. Couldn't tell you. It's the most famous Minoan palace, showcasing advanced architecture features such as light wells, staircases, and indoor plumbing.
Well, and again, that's what's crazy. Like with the Roman Empire and with Greece and that kind of area, is they had some indoor plumbing. Thousands and thousands of years ago.
Right. Obviously not what we're thinking today. But
yeah, you can't go turn on the water and the water starts coming out the faucet. Right. But it's pretty much, they had big bathhouses and stuff. They were very communal with.
Oh yeah. Greek was very loving and open.
Well,
civilization.
If you look at the word gymnasium, it literally means, what is it? Naked house or so. It translates from Greek into English, basically
something like that.
Naked house or something weird like that.
Yeah,
but they're just weird.
Yeah, another big thing that they did, they were a big seafaring civilization. So they would sail to different parts of the Mediterranean. They go into Cyprus, they go into Egypt and trade with Egypt and stuff like that. And speaking of Egypt, a little side note, I can't remember. I was listening to a podcast where this guy, big Egyptologist, studies them, doesn't believe exactly what we're kind of taught and thinks there's more going on with Egypt and the pyramids in particular. Right. But he was saying that not too long ago they dug up a mummy, and inside of the mummy's hairs was traces of cocaine from Colombia. Colombian cocaine was on traces of a mummy's hair. Egypt and Colombia are on opposite sides of the world. We didn't know... Well, according to modern day history or whatever, we didn't know that the Americas existed until way, way later. There wasn't I guess there wasn't a lot of documentation of these places, but that's pretty crazy.
Well, and if you think about it too, it's something like cocaine, that would have been a hot commodity and a very expensive commodity like tobacco or anything like that.
Right.
Somebody that would have been mummified like that would have had been a person in power.
Right.
That would have, oh hey, let's not tell everybody about this place. Like just keep that between us since it's so hard
Right.
to get.
Or they'd bring it in and use it for trade too.
Right.
We're not sure.
Yeah.
Right now, but
I mean, and whoever's theory you want to believe with Pangea or whatever you want to believe, it could have been in that time period where it was.
Well, if you go Pangea, according to the science, I'm sure Pangea happened millennia ago, and the reason why we split up was an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs or something.
Yeah. Whatever theory you want to believe, there's a couple different explanations for that.
Well, the other thing though, with ancient Egyptians, is they had maps of Australia.
Interesting.
And in Australia, there's depictions of Egyptians. There's glyphs that resemble Egyptian ones, and boats and stuff like that. The Argiberni.
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Argiberni. I don't know. The ancient people of Australia, the natives, met with people from Egypt, and Egypt and Australia are forever apart.
Yeah, they're.
So it's like they did a lot more than we were taught in grade school.
Well, and there again, in grade school, they're trying to just teach you basics, and then you have to go search for the information yourself. Whether some of that's true or not, that's up to you to what you believe. But.
Right. So, but yeah, they influenced modern day architecture and art and stuff like that, and how we trade, I guess.
Interesting.
All right. So the next people. The Moche? M-O-C-H-E. Moche? Mocho? Moche? I think it's Moche.
We'll go with that. We'll go with Moche.
The Moche civilization flourished on the north coast of Peru. They were big into pottery, elaborate irrigation systems, and a complex social hierarchy. Like how I did that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like I'm on some science video.
Well, with the irrigation, like South America, like the Aztecs.
Right.
What's the other one?
Inca.
Thank you.
Yep.
You look at how their civilizations were built and how their farming was, that they were very sophisticated in their farming. Like they had irrigation, they had.
They're smarter than we're led to believe.
Yeah, I mean,
by far.
Especially when the Spanish come across, the Spanish thought they were higher people, but really, if the Incas or the Aztecs didn't teach the Spanish how to live on their land, they would have died. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't have made it.
Right.
Or shown them, okay, here's how you grow corn. This is what you do. Here's tobacco and that type of stuff, though, too.
Right. Are they trying to come in?
Yeah. Are you guys trying to come in?
You lying?
They're going upstairs.
18.
Go through a couple more.
Yeah. But yeah, like the people from the old world, the white man, wouldn't have made it without these natives in the Americas,
right,
north or south.
Well, but then again, you look at the other side. The Aztecs thought they were gods because they were and all this silver and gold, metal plated stuff. Yeah, had all this stuff going on, and the man in the golden mask or whatever it was.
What
they
have
thought
you?
They thought they were gods and stuff, so they were like, "Oh, let's show them and let's respect them." Whatever.
Right, and the white men came in with slightly more advanced technology and in certain aspects, with weaponry.
Right, and diseases.
Yeah, but yeah, they lived northern coast of Peru between the 1st and 8th century, and they spanned the valleys and desert regions. They had fertile land, they had infertile. They had a lot of space out there. Mm-hmm. So they were cool, but yeah, pottery was their big thing.
Interesting.
Pots and not pans, but pots. I don't think maybe pans.
Well, they probably had some sort of pan that was. I mean, it's not like it's a cast iron, but it's pottery. I mean, it's clay. It's
something.
It's mud.
Yeah. Yeah, and then their social hierarchy was pretty much like what we see throughout everything. You know, the social pyramid is the elites are on the top, and for them, the elites were like priests, warriors, people with power and influence, and then at the bottom, you get the
everyday.
You think the bottom is, the peasants and the people that don't do anything.
Yeah, that lifted and did all the heavy lifting for everybody else.
Slaves. Exactly. Those are bad.
That's a no-no word.
Slavery's bad.
That's no.
So, but yeah, just like most ancient civilizations, they believed in multiple deities or gods or higher powers, and so they worshipped various people. And we can get into old ancient religions and we can dive into that.
There's only very few religions. Well, used to be only very few religions that believed in only a single god or only a couple or whatever it was. Instead of like you have the Native Americans here in America, or the Greeks or the Romans, or they have multiple. Okay, this god's over this god's over that. Like it's
But there does seem to be a common occurrence where there is one all-powerful.
Right.
Kind of like the head guy.
Right.
And then it's his
Zeus.
children or brothers and sisters that are the gods of other things, but there's always seems to be like one. Zeus. Yeah. I don't know, Roman. Egyptian was probably Osiris, maybe Ra.
I don't know either, so I could.
There's a couple. I don't know.
You guys can Google it on your own time.
Yeah,
we're not experts.
Well, let us know. But yeah, they declined from environmental stuff and then rediscovered, and I feel like that's how a lot of these ancient ones either wiped out by the white man or they just died off because the changing of whatever, they didn't adapt enough to it.
Darwin.
Yep. All right. Let's see. I've got 3 more, but I'm just gonna choose one. I'll have you choose 1, 2, or 3.
2.
2. All right. Number 2 is the Indus Valley Civilization. That wasn't that hard to say.
That was
I even got a pronunciation. I didn't even need it because it's pretty straightforward. But anyways, also known as the Harappan Civilization. They thrived in the Indus River Valley. I don't know where that is. Do you?
I have no clue.
I want to say it's either Asia, like West Asia, East Europe, maybe South America. Could also be Africa.
So it could be anywhere.
Yeah, it's not North America.
Anywhere but North America and Antarctica.
And maybe probably not Australia.
Probably not Australia. So anywhere but there.
Maybe close to like India. Sounds Indian.
Wait.
I'm sure if I scroll down, I'm gonna find exactly where it is.
This Indian. You're gonna cut out.
Anyways, so the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization, thrived in the Indus River Valley from approximately 2600 to 1900 BC. So again, a long time ago. 4,000 years is when they started ish.
Yeah.
So this is the world's earliest urban civilization, contemporaneous with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia.
So that probably is.
So around Mesopotamia, Middle East, modern day Middle East.
Yeah.
So which is, I mean, I think Mesopotamia, I think is the earliest civilization that we have record of. And then it's like ancient Egypt is right there too. Because, I mean, I want to say the Egyptian Empire, the Old Kingdom, started in like 4000 BC, maybe earlier than that. I think
somewhere around
probably earlier than that. No, never mind, earlier than that. Because I want to say the Bible, if you go by creationism, the world's been around for 6,000 years, so 4,000. So it was like 3000 BC is when
somewhere around
Egypt came about, or maybe a little after that because Noah's flood. So about the same time.
Yeah. We'll go with there.
That was a far path. Anyways.
We got there.
They were big into well-planned cities, like the whole grid structure, which is how a lot of cities are today. Mm-hmm. I know, like, St. George is big grid. So it's for me, it's super easy to get around. It's like, oh, I'm here. I need to get to here. Okay, I'll take this street. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm there because it's a grid. I mean, a lot of big cities are like that.
Right. I mean, you look at New York, Chicago. Like, you have to look at downtown, like, where everything is. It is literally a square block.
Yeah, but then you get into, like, the suburban areas and the outskirts, and it's more of twisty, windy.
Because they have to go with the land and stuff.
Right. It's not as big of a flatness.
Yeah.
So, or you look into like European cities, some of the older ones,
You
from
can't
like
get
a
anywhere.
sky view.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like from a sky view, you get block, 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 but they go straight up.
Right.
And there's just so many, and it's just like massive, just like that, which is cool to see. But
Oops.
so yeah, they had a good like street layouts. They had good brick buildings. They were like the hip, not hip. They were pretty advanced for their time.
Right.
In a lot of aspects, especially building wise. They also had an advanced agriculture and trade. So they're skilled farmers. So different crops, kind of like the cash crops, wheat, barley, peas, cotton, stuff like that, which was a high commodity. You could trade those to pretty much get whatever you want.
Yeah. That was worth more than gold.
Yeah. That's because they didn't really know what gold was yet.
That's true.
So, but yeah, big trade networks throughout that area. I'm sure the Silk Road plays into them.
Yeah. They're probably right there.
So in the Silk Road, let's see if I can remember, it was China, connecting China, India, and then like Egypt and that Middle Eastern,
it cut
ancient
right through
Israel.
Through all that. I mean, that's still used today for trade routes. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's a little different now.
yeah.
You get planes and stuff like that, and trading's a little iffy
In that area.
nowadays, but it's done a little bit different. But yeah, kind of same with them. You know, arts and crafts, pretty much pottery. Pottery seems to be a big thing.
Well,
what stands the test of time?
If you look at any piece of art that's worth anything, it really is like it's a pot, it's a vase, it's stuff that can last. Because
A plate.
if you think about a fresco or like a cave painting, like how hard is that to preserve that versus a pot? Like you just don't drop it and it's fine. Like it doesn't melt down. I mean, within reason, it doesn't melt down naturally. Like you have to physically do it yourself.
Yeah, throw it in a pit of lava. It's not gonna melt down from the heat of the sun.
Right.
In the middle of summer, even though you will, but
here you will.
The pot won't. But yeah, that seems to be like art. Always seems to be a big thing, and like manuscripts and just scripts in general don't ever seem to like put up against time because it's like the material fades away.
Well,
those are a little bit easier to ruin per se than a pot.
And you look at it though too, and think about when somebody gets conquered, like if you look at the Huns, like they literally just come in and just destroyed everything. They didn't care. They just got rid of everything because they were savages for their time. Like and they were here's a scroll with this 1,000-year-old manuscript. I don't care about that. They wanted
their history to be the only history.
Yeah, and they wanted physical things. They wanted the stuff that had value.
Right. But I mean, I like the art better. I like looking at pictures.
Pictures are better.
So
who needs to read?
And then we don't have to try and decipher ancient languages. We can just decipher a picture, which is a little bit easier to do.
A lot easier.
So, but yeah, their downfall was just same as pretty much all ancient civilizations, was change in climate, the ground, maybe the rivers decided to say, hey, peace out, I'm leaving, dry up or something, or socio-economical crap where people said, I don't like you, and they killed each other.
Yeah, and crumbled. Stuff
like that. So, but yeah, this episode's crumbling kind of like all these.
Yeah.
We can always dive into more of these, and
I mean, we could spend a whole episode talking about the Romans and
Greeks and Egyptians. I mean, Egyptians are just nuts. What goes on with them is just they're just a whole nother.
That's a whole nother level.
Oh, yeah, we could do 3-hour podcast just on them.
Oh yeah,
4 of them. So,
exactly.
But yeah,
well,
we'll watch them get conquered and
crumble and fall,
crumble away, just like this episode. And thanks for listening.
Those that